the sentence, each sentence, and we are at the end of the chapter. So we'll do that. So we can start. Yeah, Sumki has started recording. So I'm reading the Gita in later chapters speaks highly of the Veda and the Upanishads. They are divine scriptures. They are the word. The Lord himself is the knower of Veda and the author of Vedanta. Vedavit, Vedanta Krit. So we'll discuss this. The Gita in later chapters. Why? Because I'm just saying, because it seemed to be criticizing earlier in the Sankhya, Yoga and Vedanta. We saw that the Gita is criticizing those who use the Vedas only for enjoyments in the physical world by using the mantras. Because the mantras, if properly done and properly pronounced and properly sacrificed in the right way, vidhi, like according to the tradition and in the right way, then it does produce results even in the physical world. So, and they use that only for enjoyment in the physical world. Enjoyment, wealth, children, prosperity, that's why. So this is what the Gita is criticizing. But later on, to reverse that idea that the Vedas are limited or anything, it praises them. And it says they are divine scriptures. They are the word. Okay, word with a W cap. This is the last, ultimate word that they can speak about. The word. We have also discussed this word, and the word is a symbol of the power to create and manifest. Okay. Because even at our level, if we ascribe the word, what is the word? So we see that when I have a thought in my mind, it remains unmanifested. But if I have to manifest what I'm thinking, I have to use words. So the word becomes the symbol of manifestation of the power to create and manifest what is unmanifested. So, and that word W cap is Maya. Okay, Maya and the higher sense of the word. In the higher sense, the power of the divine to create what is inherent in it. Okay, and that's at the supramental level, if we remember. Okay, the Lord himself is the knower of Veda and the author of Vedanta. Vedavit. Vedavit means the one who has knowledge of the Veda. That is the Vedavit. And Vedanta Krit, the one who has done, written, Kritam, the one who has written the Vedanta. So this is what he's saying. The Lord himself has written the Vedas. Because Vedas, as we know, are Shruti. They are not composed mentally by the rishis. They are received as word directly from there and recorded. Okay, like the automatic writing. They are not written by the mind. They are heard and written down. Okay, just like Sri Aurobindo, all his books are just heard and written down. He is hearing, or rather even receiving from the highest levels, and just his pen is going on writing mechanically. His mind is absolutely silent. So that's Vedanta Krit. Okay? The Lord is one object of knowledge in all the Vedas. Sarvair Vedair Ameva Vedya. Of all the Vedas, I am only the one to be known. Vedya, I am to be known. All the Vedas speak only about me. Okay. A language which implies that the word Veda means the book of knowledge and that these scriptures deserve their appellation. These scriptures, all the four Vedas, okay? Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda and Yajur Veda. They deserve the appellation. Veda is knowledge. The Purushottama, third level. Remember, Purushottama at the supramental level. So they call the Ishvara. Or Paramatma also they use the word sometimes. Paramatma, Purushottama, okay, there are four words are used sometimes. So anyway, so that's the third level, the supramental. The Purushottama, from his high supremacy, above the immutable and the mutable, that's why the third level. Okay, the mutable is the first level. We are in the mutable. Everything is moving in the physical world. Level 1. the ignorant world, consisting of matter, life, and mind. Then level 2, the immutable. The immutable, according to Swayambhu, 4 planes of spiritual consciousness: higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, and overmind. That's the immutable. But the Purushottama is at the 3rd level from his high supremacy above the immutable and the mutable. So that's a 3rd level, which is the supermind. And in the Gita, it is the Purushottama. Sometimes they speak of the as Ishvara also. From his high supremacy above the immutable and the mutable, has extended himself in the world and in the Veda. So that's interesting. Extended himself. He has only projected what is already within him. Okay. So extended himself in the world and in the Veda. In the Veda also, the divine is there in the Veda. It is a part of the divine only which has come down into manifestation. Still, the letter of the scripture binds and confuses, because when you are using words, they are limited, and the unlimited, the infinite, when you put it into words which are limited, naturally the sense also gets limited. That's what he's saying. Still, the letter of the scripture, the words used, binds and confuses, depending on who is reading them, because you are in ignorance, so you get confused. As the apostle of Christianity warned his disciples when he said that the letter killeth and it is the spirit that saves. The letter, the lower forms, even the language used is a lower form because it uses words. You have to go beyond the words and get knowledge without the formation of letters and words and language. The truth is beyond language. And it is the spirit that saves. Okay. This is very interesting. Okay. If you see at the lowest level, communication, okay, knowledge, communication starts with only sounds. And sounds which get, first of all, at this physical level, there is only sound without any value or meaning. Okay. The rumbling of clouds, the rumbling of the earth, the river flowing, there is sound. But it is meaningless. You can't, meaningless in terms of mind. Then when you come to the animal life, there are sounds, but the sounds start becoming significant. They have a value. Okay, growling of a dog means anger. The whining of a dog means pain. The purring of a cat means satisfaction. So sounds start becoming it indicates the psychological condition. So that which was absolutely meaningless sound starts getting some values and some meaning, but still it is without language, without words. Then when you come to man, words come into the picture and communication is possible through words, but it is still limited. When you go above the mind, the limitation of words also really completely disappears and you get direct knowledge without words only, and even without sound. Only vibrations. So this is the evolution of language or communication. It's interesting when you think about it. Meaningless sounds, so-called meaningless sounds, then you come to sounds which have meaning and content and value. And then finally, when you come to man, you start using the amorphous, formless sounds become meaningful sounds, articulation of words. It's interesting that some dogs have, some not dogs, animals have the power of articulation. The parrots and the cockatoos, they can actually, because they have a thick tongue, they can articulate words. It's very interesting. They can even sing, these cockatoos. Very interesting. When I was once there in Singapore for press work, and we were printing that significance of flowers. Nowadays, of course, we print it in the press, but this was 23 years ago. So there, I had gone to that bird show, and you won't believe these cockatoos are singing "Happy Birthday to You" in correct tune, and also in in the words, in English, in Malay, and in Chinese. So words are possible even at the animal level, but when you come to man, the words start having meanings, but they are limited. You go above the mind and you access meaning only through vibrations. So that's what is being said. The letter killeth, and it is the spirit that saves. And there is a point beyond which the utility of the scripture itself ceases. So, as there is a beautiful image in the Gita, when you are thirsty, you need a well, and you go to the water in the well. But when there is a flood, you don't need the well because the water is there everywhere. It means that when you are in ignorance, you have to go to the scriptures. The scriptures are the well, and it will satisfy your thirst for knowledge. Okay? But when there is a flood, that means, in other words, your mind is full of light. You don't need the scriptures because this is directly coming into you. So that's the image used in the Gita. The thirsty man goes to a well, but the one who is, there's a flood, you don't need a well. And the flood is the light that comes into the mind, and you don't need the scriptures. So this is what is being warned by the apostle of Christianity, obviously Christ. Warned his disciples when he said that the letter killeth and it's the spirit that saves. And there is a point beyond which the utility of the scripture itself ceases. The real source of knowledge is the Lord in the heart. I am seated in the heart of every man, and from me is knowledge, says the Gita. So that's a famous thing which is so often quoted. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani, as though mounted on a machine. The body-mind life is a machine, remember. Okay? And that is why man is able to now make robots which absolutely imitate human beings. Okay, so man will soon realize that your body-mind life is really nothing but a machine. Even a human beings can create a robot that is like a human being. They will be able to play the role of a waiter in a restaurant. That's what is happening already in some countries. Okay, and they can also answer all your questions. You have that famous Alexa. No? When you say, Alexa, tell me this, and Alexa will immediately tell you what. So all these things are very interesting developments. Then, I am seated in the heart of every man, and from me is knowledge, says the Gita. The scripture is only a verbal form. There you are. It is sound with articulation, verbal form of that inner Veda, of that self-luminous reality. It is Shabda Brahma. Shabda Brahma. Brahma through words. But Brahma can be through words, it can only be through vibrations also. Okay, so the mantra, says the Veda, has risen from the heart, from the secret place, where is the seat of the truth. Sadanad Ritasya. Sadhana is the home, the state, or the refuge of Ritasya, the refuge and home of truth. Ritasya, the right. Guhayam, okay, Guhayam, secret, deep in the cave, the mountain cave. That origin is its sanction. The Veda, he is speaking of the Veda. But still, the infinite truth is greater than its word. There you are, okay. So, although the Vedas are very great, still there is a truth beyond the Vedas. That's what he said. Okay. Nor shall you say of any scripture that it alone is all sufficient, and no other truth can be admitted. And this is what all the Abrahamic religions make the mistake. Okay, the Bible is the greatest thing on earth, they say, and you can go only through Christ to God. Without Christ, you can't go to God. That's their idea. Again, the same thing with the Islam also. Allah is the greatest. You have to admit Allah. If you don't admit, you don't even deserve to live. Okay. So all this is totally wrong. That's what is being said. Nor shall you say of any scripture. He repeats this thing in the synthesis of yoga also. Go beyond the scriptures. Use the scriptures like ladders or like scaffolding. And when you have reached the top, get rid of the scaffolding. You don't need the scriptures anymore. Nor shall you say of any scripture that it alone is all sufficient and no other truth can be admitted, as the Vedavadins said of the Veda. Nanya Rasli Vadina. The ones who are using the Vedas only for their benefits are saying nothing else is there except the Vedas. This is totally wrong. This is a saying, this is a saving and liberating word which must be applied to all the scriptures of the world. What is liberating you? Liberating you from your narrow view that the Veda is the scripture is the only truth. It releases you. Saving and liberating word, which must be applied to all the scriptures of the world. So even the Gita, take it in you remember chapter 1. He says, we will use the Gita for whatever knowledge it can give us. But we will not bind ourselves down to its words. Take all the scriptures that are or have been, present and past, Bible and Quran and the books of the Chinese, the Veda, the Upanishads and Purana and Tantra and Shastra, is including all scriptures. And the Gita itself, even the Gita, and the sayings of thinkers and sages, prophets and avatars, still you shall not say that there is nothing else or that the truth your intellect cannot find there is not true because you cannot find it there. So it reminds me of that famous incident with Vivekananda. Okay, when Vivekananda was traveling all over India after Ramakrishna's death, he was in South India, and you know that the Brahmins in the south, in Tamil Nadu and elsewhere, they are very strict with their scriptures and all that. So Vivekananda was saying once that he said something, and one of the Pandits said that, but the scriptures don't say that. The Vedanta does not say that. Then Vivekananda replied, Vedanta may not say that, but I, Vivekananda, am saying it. And Sri Aurobindo says that he was right. Okay, it's not ego, it's not arrogance. It is the conviction of truth, one who has seen the truth. So it's a marvelous thing, and this is exactly what. So you have to go beyond the scriptures. That's what he said. Okay. And even in our ashram, okay, there was Dilip Kumar Roy who said to Sri Aurobindo, "You are going even beyond the Gita." Of course, he is going beyond the Gita because progress is not restricted to any one point in history. You have to always keep going higher and higher. So, that is the limited thought of the sectarian or the composite thought of the eclectic religionist. Eclectic means wide and deriving style or ideas from a broad and diverse range of sources, not limiting yourself to only one. It's the opposite of narrow and sectarian. Eclectic religionist. The one who is even the one who is an eclectic religionist, he is taking his knowledge from many sources, but the sources are scriptures. So you have to go beyond the scripture. Whether you are a narrow sectarian or even a wide-minded religionist, you have to go beyond. That's what Sri is saying. Not the untrammeled truth-seeking of the free and illumined mind and God-experienced soul. So that's exactly, in India, that's exactly. So you are allowed to go to God through any religion. They are all accepted. That's why in India, we tolerate all the religions. There are so many religions and so many which we don't even know about. Small sects are there. Sometimes you get surprised and they start asking for special status from the constitution. Okay, there is Jainism, there is Sikhism, Vaishnavism, Shaivism, and so many other small things like that. But we accept everything that comes. There is no bar on reaching God. You can go through any. That is not the case with the Abrahamic religions. Remember that. Okay, they are narrow and sectarian. They say that only we have the truth. That is the limited thought of the sectarian or the composite thought of the eclectic. Composite, very interesting. Composite means a collection, not the essential knowledge, but a collection of knowledge. Okay. Composite thought of the eclectic religion. Even one who is wide-minded, but he is sticking only to the words of the sacred text. Okay. Not the untrammeled without any boundaries and without any um, obstacles. Truth seeking of the free and illumined mind and God experience soul. Heard or unheard before, that always is the truth, which is seen by the heart of man. Now look at Sridhar's language. The heart doesn't see, it only feels, but he's saying is the truth which is seen by the heart of man in its illumined depths and heard within from the master of the all knowledge, the knower of the eternal Veda. So it ends the chapter Sankhya, Yoga and Vedanta by combining all of them, even if they seem to be opposite at the lower level. Ultimately, their aim is all the same. So now we have to start chapter 10 and the yoga of the intelligent will, which includes Sankhya and Jnana Yoga, but not Bhakti Yoga. The intelligent will, you go through the mind, okay, and he will describe to you how it is to be done. So we've got plenty of time. Yeah, tell me.
There's a question because we were doing about words and Veda. I was asking something which is not in this book.
Doesn't matter.
Can I? The meaning of Vyaratis. Bhur, Bhuva, Swana, they are supposed to be Vyaratis. I may be pronouncing wrong.
Achanadi, I didn't get the word. What is the word you are using?
Vyaratis. Vyahritis. It's a Sanskrit word.
Acha. 1 second. I'll note it down. Okay. And then I'll get back to you.
I'll send the exact word in the WhatsApp. Then we can.
Acha, okay. You do that. Put it on the chat and I will see. Okay. And I'll get back to you. It doesn't seem to be very familiar to me. So I'll have to look it up.
No, you must have maybe I'm pronouncing wrong. That's why I'll send it in WhatsApp, then it will be clearer.
Okay, all right. You send it to me and I'll see. Okay. So, shall we start reading the next one? We have got plenty of time today. The yoga of the intelligent will through the mind, Jnana Yoga. So, the whole chapter is about Jnana Yoga. You have to use your intelligence and also your will. Okay. So, shall we start reading? So, Achanati, maybe you only can read. It's a very small paragraph.
Yes, Sangata.
Okay.
The yoga of the intelligent will. I have had to deviate in the last two essays and to drag the reader with me into the arid facts of metaphysical dogma, however cursorily and with a very insufficient and superficial treatment, so that we might understand why the Gita follows the peculiar line of development it has taken, working out first a partial truth with only subdued hints of its deeper meaning, then a returning upon its hints and bringing out their significance until it rises to its last great suggestion, its supreme mystery, which it does not work out at all, but leaves to be lived out as the later ages of Indian spirituality tried to live it out in great waves of love, of surrender, of ecstasy. Its eye is always on its synthesis, and all its strains are the gradual preparation of the mind for its high closing note.
The previous chapter is the Sankhya, Yoga and Vedanta. So that's why he's saying that I had to go into philosophy a little bit. Of course, I have not dealt with it in great detail, very, very narrow and very, very superficial aspect, just to explain to you why the Gita is using this peculiar way of dealing with it. And what is that peculiar way? It's combining all together, which was not there very clearly enunciated in the exclusive methods of yoga. Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga are all separate methods, but the Gita is combining all of them. So, I am reading each sentence and we'll see what he is referring to. I have had to deviate in the last two essays, chapter 8 and chapter 9. Okay? Chapter 8 is Sankhya and Yoga, and the next one is Sankhya, Yoga, and Vedanta. So these two, he has gone into a little bit of philosophy, explaining what the Vedantic method was, what Sankhya was, and what is also the Karma Yoga, the Yoga. And Yoga means of Patanjali. So he went into a little bit of detail in that, just to explain to you what is the common factors to all that. That's why he had to explain the philosophy. So I have had to deviate in the last two essays and to drag the reader. He's being apologetic. I had to drag the reader with me into the arid tracts of metaphysical dogma. Okay, the infertile, the desert tracts of metaphysical dogma. It's very dry and very not at all interesting. That's what it means. Whereas the path of love and devotion is full of a sweetness and a juiciness, which is not there in the philosophy. It's very dry and intellectual. Okay. Whereas the other one is full of emotion and sweetness and softness and intimacy. Okay, much more satisfying. That's what he's saying. Arid tracts of metaphysical dogma. And that was a metaphysical dogma, not necessarily the truth. Okay. So, however, cursorily and with a very insufficient and superficial treatment. Okay. So that we might understand why the Gita follows the peculiar line of development. So what is the peculiar line of development which is not there in the other systems? The combination of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, which Sri Aurobindo followed, but much later. This was 5,000 years earlier, but now Sri Aurobindo is taking the Gita's synthesis one more step. And that last step, he is going to tell you that the Gita does not spell it out. And what is that last step? The supermind. Okay? The evolution to the supermind. That the Gita does not deal with. So that we might understand why the Gita follows the peculiar line of development it has taken. Working out first a partial truth with only subdued hints of its deeper meaning. And the subdued meaning is he is talking of the Purushottama third level. Then returning upon its hints and bringing out their significance until it rises to its last great suggestion. The last great suggestion is the Purushottama, where love also gets added. Okay, love and intimacy and devotion to the Lord gets added, whereas the arid tracks take you only to the second level, which is the spiritual planes of consciousness, where you get knowledge. Okay, the impersonal knowledge. But the third level, you get the person aspect of the divine. So love comes in, love and intimacy. And he's telling you what are those philosophies, he said. The last great suggestion, level 3, the Purushottama or the Ishvara consciousness, which Sri Aurobindo develops fully in his chapter in Life Divine, Brahma, okay, Purusha, Ishvara, Maya, Prakriti, Shakti. So there he develops the whole idea fully, the 3 levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay, then its supreme mystery, which it does not work out at all. So what he's saying is, it goes up to the Purushottama level. But what is that Purushottama and what is the next step in evolution? All that the Gita does not say. The Gita does not speak of evolution at all. It does not go to beyond. And he explains in another place that maybe it was not the right time. I'm not saying that was the Vyasa who wrote that was incapable of understanding. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying at that time it was not possible, probably. That's what he says. He says that maybe it was not the right time because everything has to be rebuilt only slowly, little by little. Huh? If someone who doesn't know basic laws of mechanics, you can't speak of rocket science to him. So it has to be revealed at the right time, slowly. So that's what he's saying. The last great suggestion, it's supreme mystery, which it does not work out at all. And what is that supreme mystery? The manifestation of the next race. That's what he's talking about. But leaves it to be lived out. Go to the Purushottama and live it out and get the experience of what it is. As the later ages of Indian spirituality tried to live it out in great waves. What are those waves of? Love, surrender, ecstasy. He is referring to Vaishnavism, the Ramayana, because there's so much of love comes in there, na? Hanuman's love for the divine. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ram Prasad also probably, and Ramakrishna. The later ages of Indian spirituality. He's talking about the love aspect of the divine. All these are there. Okay. And also, there is also Mirabai, Tulsidas. Okay. Then there is the Narsi Mehta. Pardon?
Yeah, Rangada, can we say that this is the Bhakti Yoga which he gave us?
That's right.
Which
Exactly. That's right. Bhakti Yoga. That's what I'm telling. All these people I'm mentioning, they're all main aspect is Bhakti. Yes. Vaishnavism, Ramayana in Chaitanya. Okay. Ram Prasad, Ramakrishna. All these are all Bhakti aspects. Mirabai, fantastic personality, historical personality. Tulsidas, Narsi Mehta in Gujarat, Eknath, okay? Uh, Eknath and Jnaneshwar and all these saints in Maharashtra, okay? Then the Tamil saints, okay? The Alvars, everywhere, all love aspect. It was lived out in such a great, all over India. That's the interesting part, no? So, this is what he's talking about. The later ages of Indian spirituality tried to live it out in great waves of love and surrender and ecstasy. Look at the language. Great waves. And the waves are all over India. It was there, okay, of surrender and ecstasy. Its eye is always on its synthesis, and all its strains are the gradual preparation of the mind for its high closing note. And what is that high closing note? Purushottama, where you have knowledge as well as love. That's what it is. So beautiful, and how well he expresses all these things. But we have to see what he is exactly meaning. So, and we did that just now. So all these which we mentioned just now, all the love aspect. And remember, I said Ramayana, but also the Mahabharata itself. The Gita is in the Mahabharata. And Arjuna and Krishna. Again, love aspect. So, we can go to the next para. I have declared to you. Okay. So, who will read now next? Either Yasmin or Pallavi. Anyone.
I can read if you want.
Okay, go ahead, Yasmin. Go ahead. I have declared to you. Who is the I? Teacher, Krishna. Go ahead, read.
I have declared to you the poise of a self-liberating intelligence in Sankhya, says the divine teacher to Arjuna. I will now declare to you another poise in yoga. You are shrinking from the results of your work. You desire other results and return from your right path in life because it does not lead you to them. But this idea of work and their result, desire of result as the motive, the work as a means for the satisfaction of desire, is the bondage of the ignorant who does not, who know not what works are, nor their true source, nor their real operation, nor their high utility. My yoga will free you from all bondage of the soul to its works. Karma bandham prahayasi.
Prahasyasi. Go ahead.
You are afraid of many things. Afraid of sin, afraid of suffering, afraid of hell and punishment, afraid of God, afraid of the world, afraid of the hereafter, afraid of yourself. What is it that you are not afraid of at the moment? You, the Aryan fighter, the world's chief hero. But this is the great fear which besieges humanity. It's fear of sin and suffering, now and hereafter. It's fear in a world of whose true nature it is ignorance, of a God whose true being also it has not seen and whose cosmic purpose it does not understand. My yoga will deliver you from the great fear, and even a little of it will bring deliverance. When you have once set out on this path, you will find that no step is lost. Every least movement will be a gain. You will find there no obstacle that can balk you of your advance. A bold and absolute promise, and one to which the fearful and hesitating mind, beset and stumbling in all its parts, cannot easily lend an assured trust. Nor is the large and full truth of its apparent unless with these first words of the message of the Gita we read also the last. Abandon all laws of conduct and take refuge in me alone. I will deliver you from all sin and evil. Do not grieve.
So this is what Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna. But it is he has started the paragraph with I have declared to you. Okay. Says the divine teacher to Arjuna, but he has not put inverted commas. So he just added afterwards, says the divine teacher to Arjuna. I have declared to you the poise of the self-liberating intelligence in Sankhya. You have to go to the witness self. You have to go to the self and you become absolutely immune to the pains and sufferings and also pleasures of the physical world. You become absolutely immutable. That's what he said. I will now declare to you another poise in yoga. And you are shrinking from the results of your works. What is your normal condition? Your normal condition is this. You desire other results and turn from your right path in life. Right path in life is you are a Kshatriya and you have a work in the physical world, but you are now thinking of not doing your Kshatriya work because it does not lead you to that. But this idea of works and the result, desire of result as the motive, okay? The work as a means for the satisfaction of desire is the bondage of the ignorant who know not what works are, nor their true source, nor their real operation, nor their high utility. So we'll discuss that a little bit because he's saying, but this idea of works and the result, desire of result, okay, as a motive, okay, karma phala, karmasya phala, the desire of result as a motive, the work as a means for the satisfaction of desire. You don't know that. Is a bondage of the ignorant. When you are wanting your motive to be satisfied, you are bound and you are ignorant by the ignorance of nature, who know not what works are, nor their true source, nor their real operation, nor their high utility. So let's look at each of these phrases. Okay? So the idea of works and the result. You think that you are doing everything. In actual fact, you are doing nothing at all. Your body-mind life is not doing anything. Uh, the body-mind life is being made to do things by universal nature. And your soul is there only agreeing, okay, let the body-mind life do whatever it wants and let the universal nature make my mind, life and body do things. Okay, let the mind think, let the heart have emotions, let the body do the works. I don't mind. I'm watching because I'm gathering experience through all these things. So the soul agrees. So this is the real thing. And the true source of all work is universal nature. The divine at the highest level does not do any work. Okay, he delegates all his work. He appoints universal nature to do all the work in the physical world because he himself is inactive and he tells nature, which is power, to act on his behalf and create the world. So it is universal nature which is making you do things, and because you have an ego, you think that you are doing, but that is, you don't know the truth. The true source is universal nature, not you. Okay? And not their real operation. It is nature which is making you do, not their high utility. What is the utility of action? Experience, to gain experience. It is through action that you can go to the Supreme Lord. You can use your action by using the sense of sacrifice. Then you can do it. So that's a utility of the words. But you don't know all that. You are just thinking, I am doing these things because I want satisfaction. That's complete ignorance. That's what he's saying. Okay? So, true source, universal nature. Real operation, nature is making you do all these things. And what is the utility of all action? To take you to the higher level of consciousness, to make you evolve, to make you grow in consciousness. But you don't know all that. My yoga will free you from all bondage of the soul to its works. Because the soul is thinking that I am doing the work. It is bound to that. Karma bandham prahasyasi. Hasyasi, prahasyasi, you will abandon. You will abandon what? Karma bandham. The attachment to works, which you think that you are doing. That's the attachment. When you realize that you are not doing anything, the attachment is destroyed. Because your consciousness is now stationed in the self above the body-mind life, and you are watching the body-mind life continuing to do what it was doing earlier, but now you realize that you are not the doer. This is a big experience in yoga, and the integral yoga starts from that level. You realize that you are not doing anything. The body-mind life is being operated by universal nature. Okay? So, karma bandham prahasyasi. You are afraid of many things, afraid of sin. That's true, no? Of all human beings. They are afraid of doing sinning. Something is wrong. You do it. Very merrily you sin. But somewhere there is something in you, when you are slightly more developed, that this I should not do. I should not tell lies. I should not do wrong things. I should not murder anybody. I should not steal. You are why? Because I'm afraid. Not for spiritual purification, but you are afraid the consequences. Afraid of suffering, afraid of hell and punishment. 90% of humanity is afraid of hell and punishment. So they try to be virtuous. Okay? Afraid of God, afraid of this world, afraid of the hereafter. Which is the hereafter? Either hell or heaven is the hereafter. Afraid of yourself. What is it that you are not afraid of at this moment? You, the Aryan fighter, the world's chief hero, and you are refusing to do your job. You have become afraid of everything. What is this? You are a hero. That's what it is. But this is the great fear which besieges humanity. It's not really your fault. It's because you are part of humanity and you are part of ignorant humanity. But I will take you out of ignorance if you surrender to me. That's what Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna. But this is the great fear which besieges humanity. It's not only you. All humanity is afraid. It's fear of sin and suffering now and hereafter. Even afterwards also, I will suffer because if I am doing something wrong, I will be put into hell. That's a normal idea. Even in India, we have Naraka and Swarga. So that idea is very common. It's nothing to do with our Indian scriptures. Okay? The scriptures don't speak of hell at all. There is a hell, it is true. That hell is the vital world. Okay? And the vital world can be a hell for those who are stuck there. That's another subject altogether. We won't discuss that now. So it's fear of sin and suffering, and now and hereafter. It's fear in a world of whose true nature is ignorant. We don't know what the world is. Of a God whose true being also it has not seen, and whose cosmic purpose it does not understand. Why has the divine created all these things? We don't understand. We don't understand how there is suffering and pain and evil and perversion and falsehood. Here we don't understand at all. My yoga, says Krishna, will deliver you from the great fear, and even a little of it will bring deliverance. A little bit of my yoga will give you deliverance, not even the full. When you have once set out on this path, you will find that no step is lost. Now that's interesting. It means to say that whatever effort you make will not disappear. It will be added to your account. That's what he's saying. It will not disappear. Every effort you make, it will be a plus point for you. You will find that no step is lost. At every least movement will be a gain. There you are. Okay. You will find that you will find there no obstacle that can balk you of your advance. The L is silent in balk. Balk means to hinder you, to obstruct you. Okay. That will discourage you and make you fail. There will be no obstacle that can balk you of your advance. If you follow my yoga, that's what it is. A bold and absolute promise, and one to which the fearful and hesitating mind, beset and stumbling in all its paths, cannot easily lend an assured trust. A bold and absolute promise, and one to which the fearful and hesitating mind, beset and stumbling in all its paths, cannot easily lend an assured trust. Nor is the large and full truth of it apparent, unless with these first words of the message of the Gita, we read the last. And what is that? Abandon all dharmas of conduct and take refuge in me alone. I will deliver you from all sin and evil. Do not grieve. Yes, the path is very difficult. You are in ignorance. But if you follow what I'm saying, you will be completely free of all suffering and you will be liberated by my yoga. That's what he said. So, 36. So, we have already gone 1 minute past the time. So, next time we will read this one. But it is not with this deep and moving word to word. Okay? So, au revoir, everybody. Have a nice day.
Borobar Rangada, Ponchunne.
Archana Di, send me that thing on WhatsApp, your word. I'll have a look and
Yes,
get back.
yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Au revoir, everybody. Have a nice day.